morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio, and today I am delighted to tell you that Wishiwashi-GX, about which I was getting so gosh darned excited, has gone and won a tournament over in Japan, which means that I can come and bring you a winning deck list, and we can all marvel at how great Wishiwashi looks. Yay! Shout out to the lovely Talonitex for hooking us up with a deck list. So if we remind ourselves about what it is exactly that Wishiwashi does, it starts off looking not particularly good. 130 HP on a 2-prize GX, no! However, 1 water, 1 colourless energy, this attack does 20 damage for each of your Wishiwashi and Wishiwashi-GX in play. So you fill your bench of Wishiwashi and Wishiwashi-GX and boom! You are off and rolling. Now there is actually a nice GX attack here as well that lets you, for 1 colourless energy, look at the top 12 cards of your deck and put as many basic Pokemon you find there as you like onto your bench, and then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck, obviously. Which even helps you get all kinds of setup. And the good news is, we've actually got another Wishiwashi that would like to come and join the party and would like to join in and go, hey, how you doing? I'm here too. It is the Wishiwashi from Dragon's Majesty. And what's relevant about that is it's got the ability Meet Up, which gives your Wishiwashi-GX 20 more HP and says that their attacks do an extra 20 damage. Now, this is very difficult to pull off. But let's say, for argument's sake, you actually get it rolling. In theory here, you can get 2 Wishiwashi-GX and 4 non-GX Wishiwashi out at the same time, assuming none are prized, etc. That means that your Wishiwashi-GX will get an extra 80 HP, putting it up to 210, and you'll have 6 Wishiwashi on the field, meaning you're doing 120, but 4 of them will let you do an extra 20 damage, which means that you're actually doing 200 damage for 2 energy on a 210 HP Wishiwashi, and at that stage, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at a phenomenally consistent Pokemon. Now, obviously, the goal here is to not be using any non-Wishiwashi Pokemon, but the reality is we do need a couple. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but Jirachi. Jirachi's just, it's Jirachi, it's got the ability. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Jirachi goes to sleep, but then you use a skateboard, which allows you to retreat while asleep, and also reduces your retreat cost by 1, meaning that you get to retreat for free, even while you're asleep. It's annoying, but it's kind of necessary. Then we end up with Fiona, the only other Pokemon that we've actually got, and Fiona's got a really, really nice ability. The Fiona here allows you, if it's sitting on the bench, you may have your opponent swap their active with one of their bench Pokemon, and then put this on the bottom of your deck. Means that you guarantee not decking out, gives you an option to make your opponent switch their active. All in all, it's looking quite fun. And that's the Pokemon line. Wishiwashi-GX really is about your only attacker, but you use a GX attack nice and early to get set up. You've then got the other Wishiwashi from Dragon Majesty, which is very important for adding HP and adding damage. And then you've got Jirachi, which gets you set up. Oh yeah, and then of course you've got Fiona because, well, Fiona. It's very cool. Now, this is the part of the video where we need to remind ourselves that although they are going to become in lockstep with us very soon, there is unfortunately a small disparity between what Japan are playing and what we're playing. And there are 3 cards in particular that we are going to miss. And they are Nest Ball, Brooklet Hill, and Aqua Patch. Nest Ball lets you search for a basic and pop it on your bench. Brooklet Hill is a stadium card that lets you search for a water Pokemon, a basic. And then Aqua Patch gets an extra energy out. And honestly, Aqua Patch for me is the biggest issue here. I know that Nest Ball and Brooklet Hill get your basics out, But you can search Wishiwashi-GX with Cherish Ball and the non-GX using the GX attack. And if you're worried about giving up a 2-prize Pokemon, you can always play Island Challenge Amulet to turn it into a 1-prize Pokemon, albeit well, it would be 30 HP, except as soon as you get your 4 Wishiwashi out using the GX attack, you actually become 110 HP single prize Pokemon, which basically makes you Zapdos. And Zapdos is alright. So I think that's what you can do to get your Pokemon out. No, it's not perfect and it's not ideal and it's slightly annoying, but it will work. Searching out your Jirachi is more awkward and that's upsetting, but I think with just the GX attack and Cherish Ball, you can make it work. Losing the energy from Aqua Patch, I think, is a slightly bigger problem, because Aqua Patch essentially turns you into a single prize Pokemon, and we just don't have that. Now, there's ways around it. You can play Welder with a little bit of fire energy. You can play Tapu Koko Prism Star with a little bit of lightning energy. But neither of these are particularly great solutions. If you're behind on prizes, you can use Counter Gain, and that will work very nicely indeed. But they're essentially your options. I don't think that using Naganadel and Quagsire is even particularly relevant here, because the problem is, if you try using them, you're taking up 2 bench spaces, and that's too much. You need all your bench space for Wishiwashi, because Wishiwashi is what's really boosting your attack here. So it's not really going to work, boo, hiss, etc. Now, it's still only a 2 energy attack, and we have got ways to accelerate energy, but you have been warned this could be a little bit awkward. Now, in terms of supporters here for the early game, we've got Professor Round's Lecture, which will be really good at getting out your little Pokemon, but unfortunately will not get your Jirachi. But again, you're using the GX attack and probably using Island Challenge Amulet will fix that. We've then got Cynthia and Lily because they are the best draw cards in the game right now. So, yeah, why would you not be playing them? They're pretty gosh darn good. But we've also got a couple copies of Rosa. Now, Rosa's the one whereby if you had a Pokemon KO during your opponent's last turn, you search your deck for a Pokemon, a trainer of any description, and a basic energy and put them into your hand. Really does give you a lot of added consistency here, especially because a lot of the time your opponent will be taking 1 prize off a Wishiwashi. This deck does play Guzma, but it's really not a huge problem here, because you can just play Great Catcher or Custom Catcher. We have other gusting options now, so it's really not the awkwardness that it used to be. Although, incidentally, this deck does play a bit of Great Catcher. Switch, make sure you've always got the right Pokemon active, so that's fairly important. Reset Stamp hurts your opponent if they take a bit of a lead. It's a phenomenal comeback card, so we're playing a couple of those as we are in most decks. A Skateboard is very important for Jirachi. And then there are a couple of Choice Band, but every deck lost Choice Band, so it's really not a huge problem. In terms of stadiums, if we can't play Brooklet Hill, we have Power Plant here. Now, Power Plant turns off GX abilities, and although you're relying on a bunch of abilities here, you're not actually relying on any GX abilities, so go nuts, frankly. Go nuts. And then we also play Blizzard Town here. Pokemon with 40 HP or less remaining cannot attack. And essentially here, there's just a few times where you're not quite doing enough damage to get a 1-hit KO on a Tag Team GX. So playing Blizzard Town basically means that even though you might miss the 1-hit KO, you're still making sure that your opponent isn't able to then use that Pokemon to get back at you. So that sounds all good by me. We look at a lot of Japanese lists here, and a lot of them translate pretty gosh darn well over here. I'll be honest with you, this is one of the ones that translates a little less well. That doesn't mean you shouldn't play it or can't play it. It's still a very nice deck. It will still work perfectly in Expanded, and you can still play it in Standard, but do be aware that you are missing Nest Ball, you are missing Brooklet Hill, and especially Aqua Patch. I think Pokemon Search can be fixed with Cherish Ball and just using the GX attack, and I think using Island Challenge Amulet will help to even the playing field as well, because you won't mind having your Pokemon in the active to use a GX attack, but frankly, ladies and gentlemen, you have been warned. At the very least, this gives you a great starting point upon which you can go ahead and try and make a Wishiwashi deck? And does that just not fill you a little bit with joy? Because honestly, it does me. But I'd like to know what you think about this deck, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WasiPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.